Misha. I got to get some music on. I'm here this morning to talk about insulin resistance. We're going to go over that, what it looks like, what causes it, how you can get over it, because it's important. It affects almost every one of us. And I don't say that lightly. When reports have changed from 88% of us having it to 93%, it's pretty wide sweeping. So in 2018, there was a study that said 88%. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that. But in 2022, a study said that 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy. And that means we're suffering with all of the things that are up there and more. And that's why I'm here talking about it, because if everybody understood that this one thing is causing most of us to feel ill, maybe we could get control of things. So good morning. We're going to go over all of that. This week, watch for videos. I'm going over how insulin resistance causes brain dysfunction. So anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of that links into insulin resistance too. So you guys, where are you all from? What's going on in your life today? Like today is Wednesday, so I'm excited because it's the day I get to go see my grandson. Good morning, Melba. So good to see you this morning. So yeah, I get really excited. It's a short day for me, but it just means that I get to run, see my grandson, let him beat up on me with some Nerf swords, do whatever it is that he wants. But he like makes my whole worth it. So how is you guys' Wednesday going on? Do you have anything exciting happening in your day today that's going to help you make it through the day? Sorry, the lens was dirty. Okay, so Melba, where are you from? I know you've said before, or have you? I'd love to know where you're from. Good morning, Janice. I got that link fixed. And I think I'm going to do a video today on the timing of when to eat and what to eat. Because there seems to be some confusion about it on the network. So you guys get to listen to who you choose, but I'm going by the science from like Dr. Bickman. I have too many books stacked around me this morning. My life is books and my grandson. But in Why We Get Sick, he talks about the dawn phenomenon. And so Tennessee, 35 miles from Nashville. I've never been there. Do you like it down there in Nashville, near Nashville? So I'm about 30 minutes north of Baltimore, and I didn't think I would like it over here, but I really do. I really do. It's gorgeous here, especially when we take the back roads and get off the freeway. It reminds me of home, but deciduous trees instead of evergreen trees, and it's just is like it fills my soul. So before we hop in, I'm going to share a little thing. Like we drove up, I talk about it a lot. We drove up to do the cornfield and the pumpkin patch with my little 7-year-old grandson this weekend. And as we're driving the back roads, I looked over at my son. I said, "You know what I think of when we drive through here? Like I'm Native American, so all of our ancestors and the abundance they must have lived in this area. It's so gorgeous and just so much available." And then I think of some of the movies that I grew up on. Anyway, and then he goes, "Well, all these trees were wiped out in the Civil War and they were replanted." And I'm like, "But they're still the same type of trees. It still has the same feel." So cut me some slack, son. He's always got to be that. Like you think I'm what did I just do to myself? I am crazy about stuff. He's worse. He's so much worse. But anyway, so there's that. I love where I live. That's the bottom line. Um, Now, so let's start off with timing, because I know I want to go over insulin resistance. I want to explain what that is. I want to talk about all of that. What's important to you guys is what's most important. But one of the things that's been coming up is when to eat, what order to eat, and what to eat, right? Like, so you want to help your insulin resistance. Number one, understand that our food has been changed. So fibers and nutrients have been stripped out of our foods, and that's making them turn into energy or sugar far too quickly. And that's the biggest part of the problem. That and the fact that we're in a constant fed state. We are not time. You guys, when did we think that we needed to eat every 2 hours? That we need to wake up and start shoveling food in our face, and we need to put food in our face until we go to sleep? That's part of the problem. I'm not saying starve yourself. I'm not saying make your life miserable. I'm saying just back away from the plate a little bit. You don't have to have snacks everywhere you go. I was watching an ad, and I'm going to say the name because I love her. I love her products, but it's Blogilates. And so she was talking about this bag that she's made and all these pockets, and she's stuffing snacks in everywhere. I'm like, lady, you're going to be gone for an hour or two, and you just took like a whole day's worth of food with you. Why are we in this mindset that we have to have so much of that stuff all the time? That's what's making us sick. So, when to eat, what to eat, how to eat, the 6 simple principles, and this is simple, you guys. It doesn't have to be hard. No, you don't have to go eat red meat all day, every day for the rest of your life. No, you don't have to be vegan. You don't have to do any of that. However, they're showing that protein, like as in animal proteins, actually helps with diabetes. Dr. Bickman posted about that over on Twitter just a day or two ago. So yeah, the people who are carnivorous, not like full on, I only eat red meat and that's all I eat. But the people who are eating animal products are their studies starting to show that they're more insulin sensitive, less instances of diabetes. So take that with what you will. But now let's take a look at what we're going to do. So we know that fibers and proteins and nutrients have been stripped out of our food. We know we need to focus on protein. So we're going to get fiber in first every time we eat, before we eat. That's going to help slow down what we do eat from delivering into our system. The fibers, the right kinds of fibers, start to fill you up so you're not as full as quick, or not as hungry. You're fuller quicker, and it's slowing down the delivery of that food into your system. So it's not depriving you of nutrients. It's just not allowing your blood sugar to spike so quick. Then proteins. So fiber first on your plate, then proteins, then fats, healthy fats like avocado and eggs with the whole yolk, and butter and ghee and coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil. All of those are great sources of fat, and fat doesn't make you fat. Okay. Sugar makes you fat. Fat does not make you fat. Let's get that straight. Then you're going to limit your carbs. And so remember, yes, fibers are non-digestible carbs. And because I don't want to have to worry about what to get in, I just supplement to make sure that I'm not spiking my insulin quicker, that I'm getting the right amount of fibers in, and then you limit your carbs. So that's like, think about corn and peas. Those are high glycemic carbs, but any vegetable, fruit, grain, those are all carbohydrates. So limit those and keep them till the end. So that's exactly how you put them on your plate. Fiber first, then you fill up with proteins, then you fill up with fats, then you have your carbohydrates last. And the crazy thing is, more and more people are showing that, I've seen a lot of people wearing the CGMs, and they do this time-based eating, and they'll have the same plate of food. They weigh it out and everything, so it's the same, and they eat it at the same time of day, and they just change the order that they're eating their food in, and it changes how the blood glucose spikes. All of it does matter. If you have the carbohydrates first in your meal, your blood sugars are going to spike higher, which makes your insulin spike higher than if you have them at the end of your meal. Okay, so that order. By the way, there's a free ebook. If you go to my profile and tap on it in my landing page, there is a place where you can get my free ebook on the 6 simple steps. The other 2 steps are simply do some time eating, meaning stop eating all the time. And the other one is move your body. A body in motion is more insulin sensitive than a body that's not moving. Okay, so there's that piece, right? You guys, you can eat what you like. Like if you like Mexican food, eat it. If you like Italian, eat it. If you like Mediterranean, eat it. Just follow those steps, okay? Make sure you're getting in those proteins first. Make sure you're getting in healthy fats and not the seed oils like vegetable oil, corn oil, all of those things. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and I'll be doing videos on that this week. Then, now, the other thing is the time, okay? So we're going to eat less. We're not going to snack all day. We're going to wait 4 to 6 hours between our meals, and we're going to follow that plating, right? Now what you want to do is pay attention to when you're eating, because that has, and this doesn't have to be hard, it's all actually pretty simple, but that has a lot to do with it too. So the phenomenon. Melba, I was thinking that I should come to Tennessee too. I was thinking that, and let's figure that out. Maybe this year in 2024. I got traveled out this year, and so I'm taking a break. But I'm ready to roll again. All right, so what time to eat? Dawn phenomenon. Um, there's this thing that your body does. I was like trying to like put all the pieces have to go in place so my cogs can start turning. So when we're in a sleeping mode, what wakes our body up? Our body is intelligent. So you guys, if you have the same alarm, have you ever noticed that you wake up before your alarm goes off? Maybe sometimes you're extremely tired, but most of the time you wake up before your alarm goes off. Your body is innately intelligent. So when it's like, oh, it's that time, I got to get this person up, we got to get moving, we have a day to get going. A whole myriad of things happen in your body, and they call it the dawn phenomenon. So your cortisol goes up. When your cortisol goes up, your heart starts beating a little faster. You're pumping sugar through your veins more quickly. You're getting that energy into your body so you can get up and start your day and do all the things that you're supposed to do in your day. So if you're testing your blood sugars first thing in the morning and they seem high, that's why. So maybe find a time a couple of hours later to start testing your morning glucose to see where that baseline is, because the very first thing in the morning might be the dawn phenomenon messing with your numbers. I really messed everything up this morning. Okay, so there's that. So with that, understand that in the morning, in the first thing in the morning, the food you eat is turning into blood glucose quicker than at any other point in the day. So even your proteins are going to turn into glucose quicker in the morning than it will in the afternoon. Okay. So the last thing we want to do in the morning is start stuffing in oatmeal and cereals and orange juice and fruits that are all spiking your glucose and your insulin anyway, because now it's like you've just doubled down on that effect and it's going to do it even more. So the first things you want to eat in the day, for a couple of reasons, for that dawn phenomenon effect, whether you're eating first thing in the morning or whether you're waiting for a 16-hour fast, have your proteins and your fats in that first meal. They're going to keep you satiated longer, so it's going to help you stay fuller throughout the day. It's going to help prevent that glucose spike, because more of the proteins and fats can be turned into glucose, but they turn into glucose far less rapidly than carbohydrates. So if you can, skip the carbohydrates in the morning and do protein and fats. Then as the day goes on, those cortisol levels generally change. And so now you're turning the food into glucose at a much lower and lower rate. So around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're converting less of it into glucose than you would at 7 in the morning. So if you want to have those carbohydrate foods, why not have them in the afternoon when wow, my throat, the back of my throat's dry. In the afternoon when less of it is turning into glucose, or less rapidly turning into glucose. Now you're already naturally mediating your insulin. Does that make sense to everybody? So proteins and fats in the morning, save your carbohydrates for afternoon, but still, there is some people will be like, it doesn't matter, your body's going to use it, whatnot. But I think that there is some, for my thinking, some efficacy to the fact that we don't want to go to bed on a super full stomach, because now your tummy is digesting and you got all this stuff going on, and your metabolism is trying to work while you're trying to sleep. So part of the goal is to stop eating early enough that a lot of that digestion has gone through before you lay down to rest. Now your body's not working on digestion and interrupting your sleep, and it's allowing yourself to get into this fasted state where you can actually lose weight, reduce the insulin levels, and wake up a little bit healthier person. I always say it wrong. Gastroparesis is hard. I don't suffer from it. I have a number of friends that do. So Gastroparesis, you guys, is absolutely an insulin resistance and diabetes disorder. So the first thing we have to understand is what's happening with gastroparesis is that your nerves in your gut are starting to get numb. So your gut is not able to contract. And your gut, I mean your stomach, I mean the gallbladder, the intestines all are contracting less forcefully and less often than in a person who is not insulin resistant. So now you eat food, and as it passes through, it's not getting digested as well, and it's kind of hanging up because the gut just doesn't have enough of that activity to push it through, and you can actually have stoppages, right? So you have to be very careful with what you eat. You have to eat smaller amounts, and you have to be careful because if you eat too much, you can get an obstructed bowel and have problems and end up in the hospital. So gastroparesis is hard. But do you know you can still do some intermittent fasting, reverse the insulin resistance, and get the nutrients in that you need. You just have to pay more attention to getting in super nutrient dense foods. That's tough. That is tough. That's one thing that I haven't had to suffer with. And I'm going to be very thankful for that. All the things I have. Um, okay. So DA truck. It's amazing that you said that, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. I just posted on Twitter like how abhorrent I think it is that people get handed these drugs by doctors, and not telling them what can happen. Like a gastroparesis is common with those GLP-1 drugs, which Ozempic, Mounjaro, Trulicity, semaglutide, those are all GLP-1s. They can cause this gastroparesis. So that's horrible. And I've had people also be telling me that, their thyroid is not functioning now, that they've had liver problems, they've had kidney problems. Of course, they're going to have pancreatic problems because the pancreas produces insulin. And if the pancreas is already overworked, producing insulin in so much loads that you have insulin resistance, and those GLP-1 drugs are making you produce more, now your pancreas is working even harder, and it's just a problem. So Mounjaro is still in that same class. And so I would be very careful with that. Um, that's my opinion, right? I am not a physician. I cannot diagnose or prescribe to you. But for me, I would never do Mounjaro, Ozempic, semaglutide, any of those. So let's talk about your hormones, your metabolic hormones a little bit, okay? So we're going to talk about the two primary ones. Insulin is one, and glucagon is the other one. Now, I don't have full understanding of Mounjaro. I have an overview, and it comes from scientists who do know. But look, insulin is this hormone. We're going to call it a saver. Insulin is anabolic. It likes things to grow. It likes to save energy. It doesn't want to spend that. It's trying to save all of that for your body. Okay. So insulin in you as a type 2 diabetic is way too high. Now what's happened is all of your cells are starting to go defunct. Some are taking up too much insulin, and some are like, I don't want to hear from you anymore. You've been knocking on my door too much. So insulin resistance is when the body starts to become insulin resistant. Interestingly, because I'm talking about neurological disorders this week in my videos, your brain becomes insulin resistant at the same rate and same time as your body. Anxiety, depression, panic attacks, all of that can be linked to insulin resistance, including Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and some behavioral problems with autism, all linked to insulin resistance. So insulin, a great hormone when it's in balance. In you, it's out of balance. These drugs are trying to get your cells to uptake the insulin so you're not insulin resistant. But how it's doing it is it's forcing your body to produce even more of what your body's already overproducing. It's forcing the cells to open up and take that insulin to get those numbers down. But the crazy part is this. The glucagon is the component hormone to insulin, and glucagon is a spender. It likes to eat things up. It's catabolic. It wants to get rid of junk cells. It wants to get rid of fat. It wants to get rid of all of that. But when you're doing those drugs, so not only are you increasing the insulin that's already causing the problem, you're forcing the cells open, forcing them open to take this insulin in. That never sounds like a good idea to me, because your body's resistant to it for a reason, and now you're forcing it to take it in. Then the other thing it's doing, one of the other things it's doing, is shutting down the production of glucagon, the one that can help you burn fat. So on Mounjaro, on Trulicity, on Ozempic, they've shown that you're losing more muscle than you would if you're doing other things. You're losing less fat than you would be. So the protocol I can share with you guys, it actually helps reverse that, because we're addressing it naturally. We're regulating how our food should be entering our body, and we're allowing our body to do its magic, right? So now you're losing more fat and actually regaining muscle. There's a reason they call it Ozempic face, because you're losing muscle mass and now your skin is just hanging. But the hidden thing that nobody likes to talk about, besides all the damage to all the organs and all this other stuff that's happening, and I will answer the blood sugar thing in just a second. So what happens is, in a number of people, those drugs, those GLP-1 agonists, are causing you to duplicate your fat cells. So think of them like little bunny rabbits. So now, instead of just opening and depleting your fat cells, you're replicating them. So there's more places for that insulin to be stored, and it's great. You're losing weight because you have some it's not even satiety, it's nauseous. So you're just not wanting to eat, right? You just don't feel like eating because you just have this feeling. In the background, you're overtaxing some of your organs. You're still creating problems with your gastrointestinal system. This is all in the PDR, or it used to be. You are now replicating fat cells. So when you go off of those drugs for weight loss and you start back to a normal life and you haven't addressed what the real root cause is, guess what happens? You rebound that weight and you gain even more back. And if you're lucky, you haven't damaged your organs. But I've had a number of people call me and be like, you were right, this is happening. I've had it happen to me. It was metformin, totally different class of drug, but a lady's husband lost his life to that. So I am not an advocate for drugs. Blood sugar does matter. The answer doesn't, yes and no. Yes and no. The answer is no sugar and low carbs. So yes, control your carbs, but it doesn't mean you have to live a puritanical life. I reversed my diabetes without being puritanical, by actually just putting back in what's causing the problem. So Kadian, Depakote sounds familiar to me, but again, I'm not a physician. So what are you on Depakote for? That's what I'm not extremely familiar with. Let's talk about the blood sugars, but first I want to talk about the magic. The magic. Is it really magic? No, it's science, and it's just reality. So we have fibers that have been stripped out of our food, and nutrients and phytosterols that are allowing us, or that should be allowing us, to digest our food more naturally, more normally. And so all that I'm doing with the protocol that I do is I don't eat as much. I have support in me not having to eat as much. I add the fiber in before I eat, every time I eat. And because I don't want to have to worry about going and finding all the right foods all the time when I'm traveling all the time, I supplement. And that makes it easy for me. So it looks like this. I drink a tea in the morning. The tea is like 375 times the potency of a normal bagged tea. It's a specific tea called yerba mate from Argentina. They call it the food of the gods. It's so dense in nutrients, they can live on this tea alone when they have no other food available. It gives me mental clarity and energy. It gives me physical energy, but it doesn't give me crashes. It allows my body to burn fat for fuel. It doesn't break my fast. And it helps with healthy heart rate. It has anti-cancer, antioxidant properties in it, and it has neuroprotective gene expression for the brain. Lots of stuff going on in this tea that I drink in the morning, which is what I'm drinking now. I do some intermittent fasting, and I'll go over the fasting timeline later and explain why that's so important. It's a 16-8 fast, so super simple. Before the protocol, I didn't think I could do a 16/8 fast because I was so food addicted. We can talk about all that a little bit, but I can do it easily now. Then before I eat, I add in this packet, which has 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers, all scientifically designed to lower your blood glucose, to slow down the fats as they hit your system. So now you don't have the insulin spike, you don't have the blood sugar spike, and your body starts to normalize, even when you have a croissant or something with your dinner, or even when you have that pasta. Do I recommend eating it all the time? No. But am I somebody who's going to tell you you have to drop below 20 grams of carbohydrates and live a life that's not sustainable and that you're going to fall off of because it's just too hard? No. I want this easy. I want it sustainable. I want you to be able to do this in a real life for real people. Look, if you're the person who can go do all the no sugar, no carb, no whatever, and do all of those things, and you can live your life that way, amen. Hallelujah. Do it. Do it. But for the rest of us, this is what I do. Okay. So that's it. If you want to check it out, it's in my profile. Just go to my profile link, the top thing up there. I'm an authorized distributor. So when you do that, you get a 90-day money back guarantee. You get a quality guarantee. You get a low price guarantee, and you get to call me, text me whenever you need for help. And I will be sending you out information and helping you along the way. So you're 6'3", 185 pounds. Let me get back to that one. It just jumped. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it does work. Thank you, concerned citizen. So just go to my profile. I'll show you that in a second. Let's just take a look real quick. How do I discipline myself to not eat while sipping the tea? The amazing thing is that you don't have to. It's bipolar. I haven't dove into bipolar yet, but I've been meaning to because I have some friends and people who are bipolar. I would love to look at the instance between bipolar and insulin resistance. So let me write that one down and see if there's a link. I would have to assume, because of all the actions in the brain that the insulin resistance creates, that there is some link. Is it the major cause? No, but could it possibly exacerbate the issues? I would have to think so, but I can't speak to that specifically. 163, 185 type 2. Type 2. So let's talk about insulin resistance. Let me write that down. Insulin with a type 2 diabetic, and I want to tell you what Dr. Bickman says about that. All that's challenging the fasting. It's not. So even with these tools, so have you done the system and you're still having problems fasting, Sweet Tone? Or have you actually done the system, and has your coach helped you? You go 2 or 3 days without eating just because I forget ADHD. Yeah. Fast sometimes to lower blood sugar, lost 45 pounds on the system. Yay, concerned citizen. So I've lost 55 pounds from there to there, gained muscle back, gained my health back, can go up and down stairs now. I had a walker cane. I donated those over a year ago because I no longer need them. My life looks completely different. So, and that's just this system. No medications. I'm off of 10 different medications for over 2 years now. Not a single prescription do I pick up ever. Like if I fell down and broke my leg and had to take an antibiotic, I would fill that prescription. The rest of them, I don't do. My blood pressure that was 180 over 150 is normal range now. Every morning it runs 112 to 117 over about 74. 59 years old, around 200 pounds. My blood pressure runs that. What? That's unheard of. I worked in medical for years. I know what that does. So let's take a look at where to get the system super quick because I want to get back to all you guys' questions and answer what I can. Okay. So if we can flip this around. All right. Hi. So if you just go to my profile, tap on my picture up above, that's going to take you to my TikTok profile. You'll see my picture. Why is it not there? Right below it, you'll see the red lights, whether it's the Misha Fayant or Misha Fayant, same thing. Just click on that link below. It's all going to take you to the same link, and this is it. So the top one is where you're going to order the system. It's right here. It costs about $5 a day, and I'll answer all the questions that I can about all of this. So you want to make sure it says Michelle Fayant. If you go to Amazon, eBay, Walmart, There's nobody authorized there. You don't get guarantees. You don't get coaching. I don't know you bought it. So I've had people call me and be like, hey, I've been on it for 2 months. You've never called me. Well, you bought it on Amazon. How would I know? Okay. So then just click on the buy now. And then you're going to get 30 of the tea and 60 of the balance or the pre-meal drink. The tea you can have hot or cold, and you can have it all day. I drink more than one tea a day regularly, and you get that in lemon or lemon ginger. You get to choose. I would just leave it where it's at. The pre-meal drink, you want to mix up in cold water and drink right away, then wait 10 minutes to eat. That's it. That's it. So it's right now, Apple Crush is only available for a limited time, so I just leave it there because you can get the orange anytime. I would do the monthly subscription over the one-time purchase because you can cancel this at any time. It saves you about $10 on delivery. You get an additional $5 off. Between those two, you're already saving $15, and then they send you this free hand mixer as a gift when you do subscription for the first month. All right, so that's where you find it. If you have questions about that, let me know. I want to get back to the live. Thank you for asking. Now, all right. So black coffee alone raises your blood sugar 10 points. I would think that it has to do with the raise in your cortisol. So let me talk a little bit about the difference between this tea and coffee. Just really briefly, if you guys are up for that. 40, I still can't believe 40. How long did it take you to lose that 45 pounds? So a 16-8 fast, and let's talk about coffee, dawn phenomenon. I talked about it a little bit, but the tea, why it's different. There are 3 components. Maybe I can just pull up the slides and go over the tea really quick because it's important to understand what's happening in your body and why the tea actually works. So they're called adaptogens, and they attach to the caffeine molecule. So although you're getting energy, you're getting more energy from the fact that you're burning fat for fuel. And these adaptogens mediate the way the caffeine works in your body. So it's not causing heart problems. I had a blood pressure of 180 over 150. When I started this, I was terrified. I'm like, what in the heck are you doing? I didn't do coffee. I didn't do any of those things because I was so terrified of what it would do to my heart rate. But these adaptogens, first of all, let's take a look. So this is the tea that I drink in the morning. It does all of this stuff. It helps you feel great all day, anytime. It doesn't have crashes. It's non-addictive. It boosts mood and mental and physical performance. It can boost physical performance and stamina by 10 to 13%, which is huge. As a former athlete, that's huge. And it helps promote healthy digestion, but it shuts down your hunger. Those adaptogens, chlorogenic acids is one. It helps you feel good. It helps you feel happy and just calm. But it also supports healthy blood pressure. So different from coffee, this is actually giving you those energy feelings, but supporting your healthy blood pressure levels, supporting healthy glucose levels, and it's actually helping you with weight loss, with your body producing ketones. The second adaptogen that attaches to that molecule is called theobromine, and it's the mood boosting molecule that you find in chocolate. There's 3 times that in this tea than in the highest quality chocolate. By the way, 375 times of all of these components than in a normal yerba mate tea. The third adaptogen is called mate saponins, and they're a class of molecules that are specific to this plant that help support healthy triglycerides and the body's ability to burn fat. But it also has some triterpenoid saponins similar to the ones that you're getting in like the reishi teas and whatnot. So they have those human health benefits, including lowering serum cholesterol and providing antioxidant, anti-cancer activity. So we have a cardiologist in Wisconsin, I think that's the right state, who has every one of his patients. He prescribes this system to every one of his patients because he himself has used it and seen how well it's done for his insulin resistance, for his weight loss, for his heart health. So there's that. Anybody have questions? Melba, bipolar also. So let me do some looking into that today, especially since I'm talking about mental health and insulin this week in my videos that I'm posting. Let me do some looking and see what I can find about bipolar and insulin resistance, and hopefully with some studies that are worth a darn. And so I can give you a real answer, because I would love to answer that. I think like in my daughter-in-law's mom is bipolar, and so there's a real propensity for her to have that, and so we're very careful with making sure that she has all the support she needs so that she doesn't go full on bipolar and start having the issues her mom had. So it's a real struggle, I know. I don't know, no, because I don't suffer from it. So, but I would love to find out if there's a link, and if this can help you with even managing some of the symptoms of bipolarism. Now, I'm not saying do this and don't do anything else for that. I would never say that. So let's be clear. All right. Um, Questions, and any any questions that anybody has so far? Um, so that was me. This one is some of my friends and I. Let's put this back up. This is me over here. There. Okay. So that picture, let's talk about this, because this has changed my life drastically in so many ways. So I was able to lose 55 pounds. Now, I had a generous, young, crabby soul man on my live yesterday talking about my weight. Look, I'm very aware that I'm still uh, a full-size woman, right? I'm also 59 years old. I also have different genetics than like my best friend who is tall and lean and all of that. We recognize that. You guys, let's stop a minute, please, and understand that we all have different body types and we all have different genetics. And we should not have to ever feel that we're not good enough because my butt's shaped different than her butt, because my chest is a different size than hers, because my hair is a different color than that person's. We are all beautifully unique as we are. The important thing for me is that people are getting healthy, and that starts from the inside out, right? So 40 years of being unhealthy isn't going to reverse and fix in 2 years of living better. Okay, so I'm working on all of that. We all could do better in our lives, but I feel damn good at the size I'm at compared to where I was. Like at this size, I couldn't go up and down stairs. I had to take an elevator, or if I had stairs, I had to have handrails and literally pull myself up. My joints hurt, my knees hurt. I was in pain. I had body-wide aches and pains. I had migraines. My teeth were bleeding. My eyes were failing. My hair was falling out. It was a horrible existence. A year later, I was able to donate I only donated a year later because in my head, like everybody else, I was like, is this real? Is this gonna last? Is this gonna be like, it's great so far, but is it really gonna be this way? And it took my mind a year to believe that it was actually gonna change. So now I'm back in the gym. When I get done with my lives every morning, do you know what I do? I go for a walk and or I go to the gym. That's a very different existence than I was a year, 2 years ago. And this is very hard coming from somebody who used to work out 6 days a week, 3 hours a day, and won 4 world championships. So I went from that to this and this back to this. So, and all I did was this protocol that I talk about, you guys. It's made a difference in my life. Extremely underweight, congested heart failure, failing lungs. Ooh, that's a whole other ball of wax. However, here's my thing. And this is not, let's just put the sales pitch down for a minute because I want to just be real. What I've learned since I started the system is that even thin people, even people with other types of glucose dysregulation can be insulin resistant. This is not all about weight loss. This is about getting you healthy from the inside out. So if your gut microbiome is unhealthy, and I can't speak to you specifically, so I'm talking in generality, okay? So if your gut microbiome is unhealthy, that can cause problems with the heart, that can cause problems with every other thing in your system. 70% of your immune cells are held in your gut. So whatever you choose to do, One of the things that I would look at if it was me is starting to look at what's going on inside of my gut, and supporting those immune cells and supporting that inflammation. I added a pear to my shake this morning, and I think that's the problem. Love pears, though they're great for you. But I would really start, hon, I would really start looking at that. Understand whether it's this protocol or anything else. Take a look at the inflammatory issues going on in your body that could be causing those things going on for you. And if you're a smoker, you know that that's probably not a good thing. But take care of yourself from the inside out if you want to have a fighting chance to do anything. Follow what your doctor says. I hope you have a good doctor who listens and is actually taking your health in order and not just your numbers. So that triggers me that somebody, not triggers me as in, oh, I'm offended, but triggers me as in, I remember somebody asked about blood sugars and said blood sugars don't matter. Yes, they matter. So here's the thing. When we're insulin resistant, your blood sugars are not going to go up right away. So I have people all the time be like, well, I have weight problems, but my blood sugars aren't high, or my blood sugars are high, but I'm not overweight. All right. So when we have insulin resistance, let's back the truck way, way up. Again, when we eat, food turns into energy in our system. That food is called glucose or sugar in our bloodstream. More than 1 teaspoon of that in our bloodstream has to be offloaded because it's too much. So when the body senses, oh, there's too much of this energy in the blood, we need to get it to the cells of the body. It says, hey, pancreas, the organ that produces this insulin, create this insulin. The insulin now is a hormone that's like an energy transport. So think of a tanker truck. It's going to come in, bloodstream, here we go. I'm going to fill up all this excess energy that you have. Now I'm going to truck that energy all throughout the body to every single cell in the body and see who wants it, who needs it, which is great. That's great, including the brain that happens, including the heart and the lungs, okay? So, but when we have too much of that happening too often, the lighting in here sucks today. When that happens too often, our cells start to get resistant to it. Now we're insulin resistant. So you've had this high level of insulin for a long time. It's stuffing that energy in every cell that it can. When those cells start saying, I don't want to hear from you anymore, insulin, whether they need the energy or not, they're going to resist it because it's just too much too often. And then the insulin's going to go, okay, I have to put this energy somewhere. So now it's going to start stuffing it in your storage unit. And your storage unit is your fat cells. You have 2 different types of fat cells. I'll get into that in a little bit. But it's going to store it either in the white fat or the brown fat. And so then you start to gain weight. You start to get this tummy that's pooching out. You have all of that going on, right? All of this is happening in the background. And even with the fat, there's a difference between genetics and how this happens with people. But only when those fat cells and all the other cells are like, we're done, we're not taking any more of this up. Well, now that tanker truck of insulin can't deliver that energy anymore. So it ends up back in the bloodstream. Now your sugars are going up in your blood work, right? All along there's been this problem, and it doesn't show up until it's critical crisis. Now your blood sugars are going up and now you're having a problem. So when I say, and I'm not sure if the question was about the morning blood sugars or whatever, but my blood sugars used to run in the 240, 260 range, and now they run about, because I do have a lot of the dawn phenomenon, they'll run about 102. A couple hours later, they're like 96, 98. After I eat, they may go up to like 120. Even 130 is not bad if you've eaten, okay? But you don't, so your blood sugars can range between 60 and 120, 130 when you're in a normal state. When they start pushing past like 150, Houston, we have a problem. If you're going way past that, you're either taking in too much sugar or you have this insulin resistance thing going on. But the insulin resistance thing has been going on long enough that your body's not able to keep it out of the bloodstream. I hope that explains a little bit about that. Again, so I'm going to back up a little bit again. How I reversed mine was understanding that why is this happening to us? Really, there's two primary reasons this is happening to us. Okay, so one of them is that we're just eating too much too often. We talked a little bit about intermittent fasting. I haven't gotten into that much yet this morning, but it's super important to understand that intermittent fasting is really key in all of this. The other thing is that so we're eating too much, and then we have food that's modified. It's either genetically modified or it's manufactured. And in either process, they've been taking out um, fibers. That the fibers are there for a reason. So fibers aren't just to clean you out and make you go poop. Okay, that's not the goal of all fibers. So it can be the goal for some, but some of them are actually encapsulating those sugars that we're eating and slowing them down. When we look at our fruits historically, before we humans started messing with them, they were smaller, firmer. Even bananas had huge seeds in them and big fibrous strands. The reason for that is to slow down the consumption of that sugar. In our wisdom, we're like, ooh, we like that fruit part, but we don't like those seeds that are like little stones. We don't like all those fibrous strands. So let's remove those so we can just have that good part in the middle. But what we weren't thinking about is that now we have fructose that's going directly into our bloodstream and it's causing problems. And that's a problem. We've removed the fiber. We've removed a number of other things from that. In fact, one doctor I was listening to this last weekend was saying, maybe it wasn't this last weekend. I listen to so many things, I lose track. He was saying the one nutrient that we're lacking in that could change everything for us, and yet nobody's really talking about it, is fiber. Adding 3 grams. So what he was talking about, and I was so happy to hear, because he said it's not just any fiber. So just adding 15 grams of psyllium husk is not going to do you any good, really. Okay, you might poop really well, but it's not going to really do a lot of other good. But like this fiber, that's 7 different types of fiber, soluble and unsoluble, scientifically put together because they help regulate blood sugars. Just this amount of fiber every day, according to this physician who does nothing with this company, said that it could increase your longevity by a minimum of 15 years. That's huge. And I feel like I'm a little bit proof of that. I just a couple of days ago posted a video where I had a video right after I started the system, and you can see my face and you can see the very big difference. I have reversed age in the last 2 years. So it's already adding to my longevity. So fiber is missing, but understand that it's not just any fiber, it's specific fibers that we need before we eat in order to slow down that glucose distribution into the system so we don't have the big insulin spikes. It's actually pretty simple. And because I don't want to have to think about, like, I already feel like I think enough about stuff, probably more than other people, and my head just wants to go, "Poof." I don't want to have to think about all that all the time. So I supplement because I know that everything I need is in this one packet. I just mix this in about this much water, drink it down 10 minutes before I eat. Now, when that hits my gut, it's gelling up. It's making me feel full before I eat. It's causing this layer in my stomach that's protecting me from all of that food just converting into glucose too quickly. And it's slowing down how quickly that food hits my system so I stay fuller longer. So have you guys ever had those times where you eat and then like you're full? Oh, I gotta unbuckle my pants. I'm like, I'm so full. I want to go lay down and rest. Now this is just like, you got food belly, right? And then a half an hour later, you're like, where's the dessert? Where's the popcorn? Where's the chips? I'm hungry again. Well, that's because your food is going through you too quickly. But when it does that, it causes a spike in insulin. It causes a spike in that glucose in your system. Now you're struggling against that. You have a number of things happening. You can feel fatigued. You can feel cold. You can feel all of that after you eat. The fiber helps slow that down so it's normalized. And then we start to get healthy in a natural way. So that's the goal of the system, and that's why I'm here talking about it every day to help everybody start to understand that, number one, and according to Dr. Fung, who wrote the diabetes code, the obesity code, and the cancer code, you cannot fix a dietary disorder with medications. So those ones we were talking about earlier, Mounjaro, metformin, semaglutide, all of that, they're not fixing anything. They're masking something. And when you come off of those drugs, you're likely to rebound. And that's not from me, that's from doctors. And I know there's doctors who will say the other thing. So here's the thing, you guys get to pick your poison. For me, there is no poison in this. This has done nothing but support my system and give me back health, helping me overcome everything on this list. I had skin tags that are gone. I had skin discoloration that's gone. My hair is actually thicker and longer than it has ever been in my life. All of the things on that list are gone, and I've just continued to support my system. And now I feel like I want to live and can live to be over 100 like I always said I was going to. On the drugs, I don't think I would feel that way. So does anybody have questions about any of this before I go take my walk and get on about my day that's really compressed today? I'm going to try to be back at 3. I can't promise because I have a really full day. But if you have questions about any of that, ask. And if not, I will either see you at 3 this afternoon or 8:30 in the morning. Bring your friends, anyone who needs to hear the information. There's a lot of information in here that just will help you along the way. So whether you do the protocol or not, there's certain things that you can do. And yes, I'm going to say intermittent fasting is huge, you guys. It's been a game changer for my health, even though I thought 2.5 years ago, I thought there is no way I could intermittent fast because of I was so sugar addicted and sugar adapted that my body just didn't like it. But the system made it easy for me to adapt that lifestyle. And now I've been doing nothing but healing. So, all right, we'll see you guys later. Melba, thanks for joining me over on Facebook, everybody. And thank you for all the love and hanging out with me and listening to what I have to say. Bring questions. I'm going to try and answer these ones. I promise I will try and get to those today. And look for the new videos coming out. I'll be talking about those neurological things, Alzheimer's, anxiety, depression. I just did anxiety. So look for those. And I'm going to also tackle fats. What are healthy fats and what's making you fat and what's causing cholesterol? We'll go over that in a video. So look for those. We'll see you guys later.